This Warzone tip is honestly so overpowered. What's up guys, it's Average Old, making average content for the average viewer, and Warzone has now been out for a little over a week, and if you guys are anything like me, you'll have been binging on Warzone like a working class stepdad does on Stella. So, as a lot of you sweaty no-life nerds like myself have been doing, I've been trying out different tactics and Warzone strategies to see how I can give myself the biggest advantage in Verdansk, and as always, I like to share my best Warzone tips with you guys. Before we go on, let's see if we can hit 30 likes on this video, and if you're new here and you have a full-on heroin level of addiction to Warzone and you want the best Warzone tips, then it would be amazing if you'd subscribe. So let's talk about it. So today, I want to talk about the absolute best way that you can optimise your Warzone loadouts. Now to be clear, this isn't necessarily a best loadout for Warzone video, although I will include some tips on that. But instead, I wanted to make a video so you guys can get the absolute best out of your hard-earned loadout drops. Actually, maybe hard-earned isn't the correct phrase. It's actually probably harder to earn job seekers allowance than your loadout drops in Warzone, but you get my point. Now I'm guessing that most of you guys already know the general meta for your loadout class setup, but for those of you who aren't aware, I will briefly go over the format. So in general, people at the moment tend to be going for a class with overkill, that meaning that you can take two primary weapons onto the battlefield. The most common setups you are likely to see at the moment tend to all have a couple of things in common. They will all contain an assault rifle. This is usually an M4, although you will always have some people who probably twiddle their mustache and drink soy lattes because they don't want to be sheeple, and these guys might tell you that the Kilo 141 or the M13 absolutely outclasses the M4, but honestly, the best weapon in Warzone is going to be the weapon that you feel most comfortable with. But it will probably be the M4, just saying. The other thing that is as common in Warzone as girls with daddy issues in the sex industry is a sniper rifle with a thermal scope. And as a result, you'll probably find that most people are also running cold-blooded to counter this. But I digress, this is not what the video is about. I want to talk to you guys about how having multiple classes set up is going to help you astronomically in your fight to survive and become the #1 no-life alpha nerd Big Daddy-O. So, as I have already said, the general meta is to use an overkill class, and I think that this is obviously because the sniping game in Warzone is so important that everyone wants to be kitted out and decked out with an assault rifle alongside a thermal sniper. However, this does limit you to your perk 2 slot. But what I have noticed is that most of the games that I play, I ended up searching my ass off for enough money to buy a loadout, but then within the next 2 minutes, a free loadout is dropped at my feet like a big fuck you from the Call of Duty gods. Now, what I'm saying is to use this to your advantage. What you should do is still work as hard as you can getting your contracts and searching for money so you can get that initial 6 grand for the loadout. This is extremely overpowered in the early games as most teams of random players will never have the foresight to club their money together to buy their loadouts, and if there is a competent player playing with randoms trying to get them to do what they want, quite often this resembles trying to herd a group of cats. So if you take your loadout quickly, it means that you'll be able to outgun these peasants at every turn. Now that you have safely entered the mid game, it's time to put phase 2 into action. Now the main issue with choosing an overkill class is that you miss out on the opportunity to use Ghost. This can become a major problem in the late game circles when you and your squad are Sam Fishering the shit out of it, crawling through grass and hiding on rooftops, and then some cheeky bugger has the audacity to call in a UAV, leaving you guys completely exposed. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier about the free loadout drops, what I suggest you do is have another loadout drop whereby you have the same perks, except instead of having overkill, you make Ghost the second perk. This means that when you pick that loadout drop up, you can ditch your new secondary for your sniper rifle and boom, you have an overkill class that also has Ghost on it. Now, you will obviously have the option of a few other perks to take over Ghost, although in my honest opinion, I think Ghost is going to be the much more useful one. But if you're not worried about being on the radar, you could instead pick High Alert. This is especially useful for solos when you are sniping at someone, as you don't have the teammate looking out at your back for those devilish scope glints. So High Alert will give you the heads up if you're just about to do your best JFK impression. With that being said, it should be noted that in the few games that I tried to run High Alert, I found myself feeling more paranoid than everyone in the supermarket when my smoker's cough kicks in. Now the other tip that I wanted to quickly go over whilst we're on the topic of optimising your loadout slots is to bear in mind your ammo situation where you are freshly jellied respawn. Whether that be feeling confident after winning a gulag, or feeling like deadweight because your teammates have just had to spend $13,500 picking your dead ass up every 5 minutes. So in these situations, I'd say around 65% of the time you'll be able to land in direct vicinity of a loadout drop. Or if your teammate is clearly better than you, you might have the capital to buy one. Now the issue here is that although you will have your weapons, your ammo count will not be healthy. So, my top Warzone tip for you guys would be to have a copy of your favourite class that you have been using, but on both your primary and your secondary, one attachment should be changed to fully loaded, the weapon perk. This is so useful because not only will it allow you to spawn in fully loaded, but also if one of your teammates aren't subscribed to Average Old Gaming and thus aren't aware that this was a tactic and they're not prepared, you'll be able to call in your loadout drop and get them some ammo too. So there we have it, some quick tips so that you can really optimise your loadout space and make your loadout go from average to quite possibly overpowered. Now, if you guys have been watching these average little videos for a while, you'll know that I like to see who sticks around until the end. So if you're here, let me know by answering this pointless question down below. If you had to choose one video game character to help you in a zombie invasion, who would it be and why? Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.